What's going on? Welcome to What's Good Cincinnati. This is our first episode. We're here to talk about what's going on in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area, some Indiana, pretty much anywhere we want to go, but we're bringing it to you. I'm Joe Lunsford.
I'm Ralph Hoover.
And we're here to talk to you for a little bit. We've got a lot of stuff going on this first episode. We're bringing in a couple comedians to speak to. We've got Jay Armstrong, very funny dude, coming in. Brendan Yancey, who's not only a comedian, he's also a really good magician. Almost said musician. And we also got John Bernard. All right, everybody, I'm sitting here with a very, very funny comedian. Known him for a little while, done a few shows with him. This guy has got an edge to him, unlike a lot of comics. Mr. Jay Armstrong. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Joe? How you doing, man?
Doing good. How you been?
Better than I deserve.
Better than I deserve. Man, we did a show a couple weeks ago together. You seem like you're just getting better and better, man. I mean, is it paying off doing all these shows, or is that just something that comes natural?
Well, part of it is, you know, I've been on stage a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like I think the fewest times in a week I've performed in the last, 2 months is 4. And, but that and taking a lot of time to work on writing new stuff, and I'm involved with this writing workshop that they're doing down at the Funny Bone.
Yeah,
a guy named
Brian Million
is running it, and I've
funny
learned
guy.
a lot from that, and you know, just having fresh eyes and different perspective about not even actual material, but just writing techniques, writing exercises, that sort of thing has helped out tremendously.
People really don't understand, being a comedian, how much actually goes into it. A lot of people think it's just somebody gets up there with a couple funny ideas and just talks.
Right.
And that's not it at all.
Is it? Yeah, no, it's not. Having some structure to your material has really changed the way I write anyway, because I would basically just, you know, almost hope that an idea would come out of the sky, out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Or I'd see something and just basically tell a story. And man, it was real hacky, and nobody told me until one guy that's been, you know, performing for 15 years was like, dude, you're funny, but you're a hack. And, you know, schooled me on some structure, man. And that's been the major change, you know, in my performance.
Yeah, with comedians' deliveries, that's it. I mean, you really don't even have to be that funny and have a great delivery, and people respond to it.
Yeah.
But your jokes, you're unlike me in a lot of ways, because you're, I mean, in a lot of ways we are the same. We both get up there, we're bald, fat, and are mad a lot. And but your jokes are very different than a lot of comedians. Like, you really don't fall into the political or the religious stuff. I know you're a Christian and you have your beliefs and things, right. And like me, I get up there and just, you know, whatever, I just say what comes to mind, but you actually kind of stay away from all that stuff.
Right. Well, I'm very, very opinionated, you know, as far as religious, spiritual, political, economic issues, and you know, I don't want to alienate my audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not my job to go up there and be like, this is where you're wrong. You know what I mean? It's my job to say, this is where we're alike, and I noticed that this is kind of messed up. So let's bring this to the forefront.
Yeah.
And you know, plus I'm silly. You know what I mean? And a lot of people think that my material, when they see me and they don't really pay attention to my act, they automatically assume that I'm talking about some real offensive stuff. I swear a whole lot, and you know, I swear some. You know what I mean? But it really is the way I look and people's perception of me. You know, that makes me edgier than my material. Yeah. I don't do any sex jokes. You know what I mean? The jokes I do about drugs are about how they're not good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, how many stoner comics have you seen?
Oh, well, I mean, it became a standard for a while.
Yeah, and it still is, you know what I mean? I smoked a joint and drank some chocolate milk and ate some cookies, you know what I mean? And people laugh at that, and people think it's real original, but it's not, you know?
No,
it's been done 1,000 times, so my goal is to do stuff that's not been done, you know, 10,000 times, and of course there's probably 5 million comics in the United States, so you're going to have material that's, you know, similar to somebody else's, so it's I try to put my own original view on it rather than just, you know, people on buses are ugly or stupid, you know what I mean?
There's such an oversaturation of people to call themselves comics now.
Right.
I mean, there's, where do you put the line on who is actually a comic and who's just your open mic? You know, because there's plenty of guys that are funnier than the guys making money now.
Right.
Cincinnati, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, as far as comedy goes, it's not really big. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some of the best talent in the world here. I mean, there's guys, I mean, I think, not trying to toot my own horn, I think I'm a good comic. You're great. The two guys we got on here today with you are great. And there's a lot of other ones that we could just keep naming and naming and naming.
Right.
You know, I feel like guys like us, if we were in LA or New York or something, we might be doing something a little more than what we are now.
Maybe, but the thing about that is if we were in LA and New York, well, we had the same view on life that we do. You know, and there's a bunch of famous comics that are from this area, you know, and like one of the guys you have here today, John, you know, John's great. As soon as he gets enough material, man, he's going to be headlining shows, and that's a guy that's going to take off, you know what I mean?
Well,
there's a lot of people in this area that once they get enough material, because that's the thing, a lot of people, when you're starting out doing comedy, you don't get a whole bunch of time, you know, and that's what it takes to really get noticed.
Oh, you definitely have to have that one thing to get you seen.
Right, well, there's that, and it's work, you know what I mean? You got to put yourself out there in different ways. You know, YouTube is great. You know what I mean? Sending your videos to clubs around the country is great. And, you know, that's where I'm at now. You know, I'm sending stuff to clubs, trying to get work, you know, paying work other than bar shows. Because when you're doing bar shows, you know, even if you're headlining a bar show, you know what I mean, chances are there's not some producer or talent scout, you know, in some bar in Covington, you know what I mean, with all the shirtless rednecks. Hanging out.
Well, I mean, at the point most of us are, like I've been in the national publication and things like that, and it still doesn't matter because most of the shows I do are bar shows. Right. But the reason for that is, as a lot of people that go to the shows notice, is you have so much more freedom in a bar show. Even though you got, you know, the drunk dude beating on his girl in the audience, you still, you know what I mean? If you can get laughs at a bar show, you can headline anywhere in the country.
Right, and that's true, but I mean, you got to get into the club circuit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not an easy thing to do. And, you know, you don't have as much freedom in the club. You know, they want you to watch your language and stuff because they're trying to build a show because the first thing you're going to do is MC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you take the vulgarity level to a certain, you know, way up here, you can always go higher, but you can't go down.
Exactly.
You know, and that really frustrated me at first because it's like, you had to be PG clean to do the open mic at the Funny Bone, and I'm like, I can't do that. Yeah. You know, and the reason it's like, why can't you? Can't you write jokes that are funny enough without swearing? You know, and
well, I mean, that's true. That's true.
Trying to write all my humor, you know, completely free of profanity has made a difference in my writing too.
All right.
So yeah, so I end up doing lots of bar shows. You know what I mean? And I've recently started traveling to do some bar shows in different places. Just closed out a show in Ellettsville, Indiana, which was, you know, kind of a scary experience because it's right outside of Bloomington, and the bar's called Hoosiers, and in Bloomington is, you know, IU, so I assumed that it was going to be packed wall to wall with college kids, and I tend to do pretty well in front of a college crowd, and I get in there, and it's a lot of older, like, country folk, and I'm like, kind of getting nervous, you know what I mean, like, how is this going to go, and man, it went way better than anybody expected, and you know, for me, that's the test of my material. Is it good in front of different audiences? You know, because it's never the crowd that is wrong or bad or incorrect. You know, I mean, if the crowd doesn't think I'm funny, then the truth is that I'm not funny.
Well, that's the same way I feel. Yeah.
There's no excuses for me anymore. You know, a couple guys really just shut all that stuff down for me, and so that's kind of why I've stepped up my writing game and why people have seen, you know, a difference in my performance lately.
Yeah. I mean, I seen you right after you started out. I thought you were funny then. You know, you definitely improved. I mean, you know, you're talking to somebody that's been doing this for like 6 years. You know, and you're what, about a year and a half, 2 years in?
Yeah, something like 20 months, something like that. I don't remember the exact date when I started, like a lot of people do. Like, I'd see people having anniversaries for doing comedy.
See, I don't get that into it, you know what I mean?
And, you know, I don't know the date, you know what I mean? I was scared to death the first time I did it. I didn't plan on trying to make any kind of real go at it, you know what I mean? I just wanted to try it once, man, and it was like the best feeling I'd ever had at that point, you know, and better than any drug I'd ever done, you know, having a whole crowd of people laughing, and you know, I was fortunate early on because, like, my jokes were funny. They just weren't jokes. They were more like stories that I was telling. And,
well, that's how a lot of people start out writing their jokes, you know, because most people come from true experience, and 90% of people that start writing jokes do it that way because they don't understand there's any kind of structure or form to it.
Right, and I didn't. And no, it took
I was the same way.
It took almost a year and a half for anybody to even say anything to me, you know, everybody always just, man, I love everything you do, man, you're funny, you're great, you know, I love your act, you know, and it's like, I look back on it, and I look back at some of my old tapes, and it's like, dude, I was terrible, you know, and I don't know if it's that they didn't know, you know what I mean, or if they just didn't want to help me.
Well, and it's that thing too. It's like, you know, a lot of people look at it, like I said, like the scene around here. For this being like Cincinnati and stuff, you know, they see somebody that's funny but not great. And they're like, oh, for around here, you're phenomenal. That's basically what they're saying. Like, you know,
right. Well, I mean, other comics too, though, not like audience members. Like, I don't expect an audience member to know anything about joke structure or
but a lot of comedians don't either.
Right.
That's the thing too, especially starting out. And when you're starting out, you're usually not with the bigger names in the area. You're usually around, you know, the guys that are starting where you are. So of course they're going to think you're doing great. You know, I went through that too. Everybody, you know, Ralph's went through that. I'm sure the other two guys here went through that. And it's, you know, until you start talking to guys, you know, like we were talking about, you were at the Funny Bone with Guy Torrey and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a cool, doing that workshop, man. He came down and see, man, a lot of comics that I've met recently will take the time to show me stuff. Like, since that one guy told me, you know, like, he's directed me towards other avenues of ways I could get help. And, you know, not with necessarily like, this is how you need to fix that joke, but like, this is the philosophy. You know, this is the general framework, and here you go. You know, see what you can do with that. And, you know, Guy coming in and talking to us was awesome. He's a super nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
It's hilarious. Another thing we're going to talk about before we get, switch over, you, like me, have been through a lot of struggles in your life with substance abuse and things like that.
Right.
How much of that plays into what you actually say on stage? How much do you really think of that before you?
Well, with the recovery program that I went to, there's a lot of like inventory on myself. You know what I mean? Taking different views of myself, trying to see myself in an honest light instead of just with my rationalizations and justifications and all that. So trying to see the world in that same manner, you know, kind of helps me see more angles to stuff, and you know, I can write with it. You know, I was talking earlier about being a stoner comic. You know, there's so many of them, and I'm not. You know, so that helps because it's different. You know what I mean? You don't get, most comics that don't do drugs don't talk about them.
Yeah.
You know, but I spent a third of my life, you know, hopelessly addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been sober for 6 years now, and it's just, I can see the world clearly now. You know, that definitely helps, or more so clear than
What
I
it
did
was,
when I was intoxicated. You know, and you know, I'm just grateful, and I'm a reasonably humble guy. You know, I mean, I have some measure of humility. You know, ego builds up here and there every single day, and it gets smashed, you know, periodically. So like that, like knowing that I'm the exact same as the audience, like we're all just people. You know what I mean? That helps me connect with the audience, and that's been what I've been trying to work on lately more than anything, is like getting an actual personal connection with the audience rather than just you sit there and listen. I'm up here, I got the mic, I'm better than you, you shut up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's guys like that, man.
There's a lot of guys like that, and some of them it's part of their shtick. You know what I mean? And some of them it's just they're that arrogant.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, as far as recovery goes, I mean, I would say that you know, that the different viewpoints, trying to maintain some measure of humility, and pushing through fear. You know, because the scariest thing in the world to me is getting up on stage when there's 4 people that paid into to get in the show. You know what I mean? And there's 4 people. You know, there's no room for error when there's, you know, 4, 6, 10 people. You know, if half the crowd doesn't think you're funny.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
a rough way to go.
Well, it's always easy when you have a big crowd, because if you can get 5 people laughing, you always have those people that laugh because somebody else did.
Right.
Not saying that it's not funny, but it always helps if you've got that one person.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Once you get momentum going, you know, the crowd will kind of go with you. You know, and if you watch, you know, any like long special from a comic, there will be long periods where they're saying stuff that's not really that funny, but they're getting giggles all through the crowd, and it kind of goes through like a wave.
Yeah, it builds to that one big laugh.
Right, so that, you know, the crowd's laughing at stuff that's not funny yet, you know, because they anticipate something funny because you've proven, you know, that you're going to say something funny. And so yeah, there is that effect. You know, people laughing over here will cause people to laugh over here. But I mean, I've been in front of big crowds that have given other comics, you know, a real rough way to go. You know, like there was that Wildin' Out Wednesday show at the Funny Bone, and it's like an Apollo style show where they can boo you off the stage. You know, so I mean, you got to get you know, you get half the room laughing and one guy on the other side starts booing, it's over.
Yeah.
You know, it's over because that spreads way faster.
Yeah, than laughter. It really does. Yeah, if you've never been to an actual comedy show, if one person boos, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Wild 'N Out Wednesdays, Judy Brown puts it on at the Funny Bone. I think it's the third Wednesday or the second to the last Wednesday of every month. They got to make stuff complicated down there.
Yeah, it's one Wednesday.
This is the second to the last Wednesday. The last Wednesday of the month is the open mic, which I will be there this month. It's on the 28th. Feel free to look me up on Facebook if this doesn't air before then.
Okay. Couple more things. Like you said, you know, the shows at Tickets, I headlined there about a month ago or something in that area. And, I mean, I loved it, man. I mean, the 2 nights, first night wasn't as great. Second night was great. I mean, we had a pretty good turnout, and everybody was into the show. I mean, it really is like its own little comedy club.
The way it's set up, man. But for mainly like local stuff, you know. And the way it's set up is like it used to be a music venue.
Yeah.
And so there's a stage, and we've put some curtains on the back of the stage. Like every week, we've gotten something to make the experience better for the audience and for the people performing. And you know, there's bands that are performing there now too. So they come up with ideas to help us out. We've redone the floor, painted it, put a big curtain up, changed the lighting. There's a new sound system in PA. And they're really stepping up the sound system there because there's some pretty popular local like cover bands that are playing there. It's not really something that I go do, you know, but the college kids, you know, are into it.
Definitely,
and, you know, it's nice to hear loud or live music, you know, and when it's local bands, it's like you're not going to get the bands that play on Q102 or WEBN and the Tickets, you know, it's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Man.
You know, and it's like you'll never see Chris Rock there, you know what I mean? It's local stuff, and or Chappelle or any of those guys, you know what I mean? It's a small venue. It's to represent this area, and you know the bands from this area go there and play. Some of them do, and you know the general public a lot of times want to hear stuff they're familiar with. You know, so a lot of these bands are cover bands, and they go in and they play, you know, an hour long of cover music and sneak their own stuff here and there, and you know, hope that the audience digs it. And all the bands they've had so far, and all the ones that I know for a fact they have lined up, are all really, really talented bands.
But hey, man, it's always a pleasure when I get to talk to you. Where are you going to be at next?
Well, this Friday and Saturday, I'll be at Ticket Sports Cafe. Next Wednesday, I'll be up in Muncie, Indiana. The 16th of March, I'll be at the Home Base Tavern up here on Vine Street. The 17th of April, I'll be at Miami University in the campus theater there with Homer Shadowheart and Travis Clyburn. That's going to be a lot of fun, man. Both of those guys are really funny guys. And Homer Shadowheart's one of the nicest, most awesome people in the world. I'm getting married. He's going to be the best man at my wedding.
That's
awesome.
I
mean, dude is the salt of the earth. I love him to death. And so going up there to do that.
You need to let that dude write your vows, man. That would be like some earth-shattering, you know what I mean?
Right.
Straight Native American, like, you know, open the clouds up stuff.
Yeah, St. Patrick probably wouldn't like that too much, man. I'm an Irish guy, so. I'm not Catholic, though.
Well, I'll leave that alone, but it was always great talking to you, man.
Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Not a problem, man. All right, we'll be right back.
A lot of comics have a problem with being nervous, right? You know what I mean? It's not easy doing comedy. You know what I mean? It's like being in a band, you got like 4 other guys with you. You know what I mean? If you're on stage by yourself, no music, it's like being naked in front of people when it's cold. You know what I mean? I never really had a problem with being nervous. You know, because I did a lot of public speaking before I ever did comedy. Now, all I ever got to say was yes, sir, no, sir, and guilty. But there was an audience. You know what I mean? Now, when I performed that act in Ohio, I had to say yes, sir, no, sir, no contest. You guys familiar with that no contest? No contest, basically, is when the prosecutor reads what they're accusing you of, you say, I don't dispute the facts, but I'm not guilty, right? I tried that with my old lady the other day. She was like, Jay, Ethan said he saw you drinking right out of a milk jug. No contest. She's like, no, what the hell is that? I'm like, well, I'm not really ready to call him a liar, but I'm not ready to hear you bitch either. Didn't go over too well, for real. Imagine that, right? So watching the news, man, we got more bad news. The unemployment rate's back up. Apparently Whitney Houston died, and now all our crack dealers are looking for jobs. Rough out there, man, it is. You guys see this? Lady got busted manufacturing methamphetamine inside of Walmart. You guys see that? 6 hours. That's how long she was in there doing that before they stopped her. 6 hours. I was in there about a month ago and opened the pop before I paid for it, man. I got tackled immediately. Walmart's a fucked up place, man. But it's a place that brings us all together. It really is. It doesn't matter what race you are, what age you are. You know what I mean? White, black, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. One thing that brings us together is beating your kids at Walmart. Now, the Asian kids get beat while they're making the shit that you guys buy at Walmart, but I still count it. I think that shit should be a professional sport, for real. Corporate sponsors could cut their shape of their logo out of the paddle so when you hit your kid with it, it welts up in that shape. And then they could have like Walmart would be like Sprint Cup, like NASCAR. You know what I mean? And then like beat your kids at the flea market. That would be like Bush Series. And like beat your kids at home would be like Craftsman Truck Series. So there's only 2 guys watching, they're both too drunk to stop anyway, so it's not like it matters. So how many of you guys do drugs? Not a fucking soul. Bullshit. I don't take any drugs now. I don't. None at all. But I did try heroin once. For about 9.5 years. And that's exactly what it was like too, like one long failed experiment. You know? Forgot that part of the scientific method where you come up with a hypothesis and a control group and all that shit first, so I was destined for failure. It wasn't a complete failure though, I did get a free place to live for about 3 years. Well, it wasn't completely free. You guys that have jobs and pay taxes and paid for it, thank you. The thing about prison that's really, really bad, it's not like Oz or any of that bullshit you know in movies. You know what I mean? It's boring. You know what I mean? It really is. And there's no women. So it's like all you gotta do is read books and jerk off in the shower. Jerked off in the shower so much that for the first year I was out, every time it rained I got an erection. And then the other one, the one that was most prevalent was, how do you do it? I don't think I could do that. 3 years. Man, how do you do it? Well, you see, first they came to my house and dragged me away at gunpoint. And then they put me in a cinder block room with a steel door and they give me a key. And eventually they were like, get out, we'll see you in 6 months. Oh man. But I was young, I was a young man. And I'm glad that I went to the state pen as a young man instead of Penn State. You know what I mean? Your chances of getting raped there are a lot higher. And them kids at Penn State had a riot when they fired Joe Paterno. A fucking riot. You know what I mean? Like they're worried about Joe Pot having a job. You know what I mean? It's not like the Catholic Church wasn't beating down his door the next day like, we want you to be an archbishop, come on. I was married once. I met this girl on MySpace. This really happened. Met her on MySpace, married her 6 months later. I was the only one in the world that didn't see that shit working out. I was sold a false bill of goods though. She told me she could cook, and being the good Christian man that I am, we didn't move in together until after we were married. She's like, honey, you like lasagna? I go, fat, right? You know what I mean? Cheese and meat? Let's go. So I'm gonna go to Kroger and get the stuff to make lasagna. I'll be right back. So she goes to the store, comes back with a frozen Stouffer's lasagna. And I asked the question that seemed relevant. Thought you were gonna make lasagna. She looks at me like I'm stupid. This is how I always make it. You did not make that. Stouffer's made that. You heated it up. That does not fucking count. Son heats up shit all day. Never asked for credit for anything. The best of it was Thanksgiving because me and my dad are in the basement. She comes down. Are you guys familiar with Pillsbury crescent rolls? She comes downstairs and says, honey, crescent rolls didn't work. Let me ask you guys, what function do crescent rolls perform? Exactly. So I go upstairs, right, because I gotta know what the hell is going on. And there on the cookie sheet is 6 half-inch tall triangle-shaped biscuits. Because she didn't know you had to roll them up. And since she was from Price Hill, she couldn't read, so the directions were no help. Look, if you're from Price Hill and you're offended by that, I have my own vehicle outside, you'll never catch me on the metro. I'm not worried. I'm dating is scary. I'm divorced now, but so I got back into the dating world, man. I met this Asian chick, right? And the thing is when you meet people, you never know if they're people that you think you're meeting. You know what I mean? You gotta go to the Dateline website and look that shit up, check jailtracker.com and all that. So I meet this Asian girl, and she tells me she's a gymnast in the Olympics. Cool. You know what I mean? Sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. You know what I mean? Let's ride. Kind of seemed like her mom was a little more controlling than what I'm used to with women. You know what I mean? But Asian cultures, they still respect their parents. That's a fad that died out here like 2 decades ago. So I was cool with it, right? And then it got worse and worse. So finally I called, and I'm like, "Hi, this is Jay. I've been dating your daughter. You know, I think it's fucked up that you're being so controlling now." And when she replied, she didn't have the same accent. Fucking me, right? So I asked a couple of quick questions, and as it turns out, they're not from Mongolia at all. And that Mongoloid's like the worst thing you can call a girl with Down syndrome. Apparently, even though like special and elite mean the same thing in the military, doesn't mean the same thing in the Olympics. I got one table of moral degenerates in here. Everybody else, I'm not fucking with that shit.
All right, man. I'm here with a very, very funny dude. Mentioning earlier, he's first off a magician and also a very funny comic, Mr. Brendan Yancey. What's going on, brother? How you been?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad.
Not too bad. You got a lot of stuff going on?
Same shit on the toilet.
Wasn't expecting that.
That's what I figured.
All right. But yeah, so like we did an interview a couple weeks ago or whatever.
That went well.
Yeah, that went really well. 5, 8, 15 beers in. But on stage, man, you seem really, really comfortable. But it's like, you were saying you didn't look at yourself really as much as a comic as you did a magician.
I started with the magic thing when I was like 6 years old. My uncle got me into the magic. See, I actually kind of see myself more as a magician. I don't want to take the credit like all these other comedians get to go up there without props and stuff, because basically I'm like Carrot Top, only a little funnier and not built as good. But I don't know, I always did the magic kind of like when I was a kid coming up and seeing Copperfield and all those people who did the routines with women and musical stuff. I never wanted to talk to anybody, and then a buddy of mine, close friend who performed that night, Dave Hayden, who I've known since first grade, my best friend, he got me into comedy and told me to get out there and tell you what, you learn to talk to an audience and get comfortable real quick.
Oh, you have to.
When they're drunk and you're going up last and they've been drinking all night.
Or drunk and have glass bottles.
Yes, exactly. So you break out fire first and you get their attention, and nobody messes with you after that.
There you go. But like I said, when it seems seamless for you though, like to go from your magic to your comedy. It flows really good together. Like, because I've seen guys that have done it not well, not well at all. You know, and I hate, like I've heard stuff where they lump magician comics in with like ventriloquists and
novelty acts,
you know, where it's, you know, prop comics and things like that. I don't look at your act like that because it goes really well together.
I've been doing some of the routines so long, like the straitjacket and the fire eating and things like that, and then it just basically became goofing off with my friends is kind of how it started. I mean, the material just came from it and joking around, and I got some other great material from some magicians I know and stuff like that, but just it worked out a lot better for me than kids shows. I've always loved stand-up comedy. A lot of my friends are stand-up comedians, and I just wasn't the kids show performer. Swallowing needles is not the best thing for your child's birthday party and all the other random stuff that I do. So the comedy club thing kind of fit me perfectly. So I think that's just kind of where it flows so well, is because I'm in my element up there. I love performing for people who have had to be ID'd to get into the building.
We're going to show a clip a little bit later of you with your straitjacket, which was actually, I enjoyed it.
That's my favorite closer. It's takes a lot of energy, but it's a lot of fun, and I like to get a lot of people up there on stage, and I get to get a couple up there and 2 people, and the more people on stage, the bigger it looks, even though I'm just using a jacket, so it makes me look like I have a big show, even though it's in a briefcase, basically. Looks better when I have assistants.
And that's like you were talking about the needle swallowing. How many times has that not went right? Because that seems like that could be a little tricky.
It's never gone wrong on stage, but rehearsing anything, you have some issues trying new things out. Fire eating was always fun when I first started doing that. I actually remember I started learning fire eating in the winter, so I would try it in my house, and I was still living at home with Mom and Dad then. Should be like 2 years ago, but no, this was when I was like 17. But yeah, the fire eating didn't go over well, and I had some accidents with that, and I've had some incidents with a lot of stupid
You
stuff.
actually told me a story about some curtains.
Curtains, yeah. I was doing a trick where, Jesus, I can't believe we brought that up. Some friends of mine are going to be watching this who know about this, and my parents, who I rented the house from at the time, don't know about this. But yeah, I did this neat, amazing thing where my hand's on fire, and in the process of doing this and my hands set on fire and just become this magic wonderland, I do this neat little move to extinguish the flames, at which point I threw fire completely across my living room onto curtains because I decided it's a good idea to show off doing magic and setting yourself on fire at 2 in the morning with sheer curtains. And I can halt a party better than anybody. I can stop a party dead very quickly, just set the curtains on fire. Doesn't work out real well. That's the best story.
Stop a party quicker than Andy Dick, huh?
Yeah.
That guy walks in, everybody stops.
I don't have any fire extinguishers in any house I live in. I take them down because of how often I'm eating fire in my, I'm sorry to my landlord, how often I'm eating fire in my place and weird stuff like that.
Oh man, it's like you're like the worst tenant. Like, it's one thing if you tell the landlord, like, you know, you got a guy shooting up in here, but this guy's in there eating fire.
Eating fire,
That's
straight
just a
jackets,
little,
running
you know.
around, yeah. Every now and then I just like to scare him by like taking off in some white boxer shorts and tube socks up to my knees and my straight jacket screaming out the front door in the middle of the night for no apparent reason.
See, if
Always gets a good reaction.
If I had a straight jacket, dude, I would just like lay out in the middle of the street all the time. And
Oh, we've got Fountain Square close by. We can have so much fun there, and it's in the trunk of the car. You always got to keep a straight jacket with you. You never know when you're going to need it.
I know what I'm doing when I leave here. But no, where do you want to go with this, man? Because I mean, I think you're really funny. I mean, do you have any other aspirations, anything?
I've done a little bit of everything, from the mentalism and mind reading and bending metal with the mind, and I started with magic and card stuff, and then that built into illusions, and then I did 3 years every summer, 5 shows a day in New York doing illusions, cutting girls in half, making people float, and then I came back, and then it turned into the comedy thing. It's just, I'm kind of, whichever way the performing's going, I'm really not making the path. The performing has kind of made the path. I mean, it started with one thing, and then just by going up to New York, the carny stuff happened with the fire eating and the eating light bulbs and walking on glass and all the other stuff that upsets my mother. And then I come back here to do the comedy shows, and the first ones I'm ever thrown into are a gong show contest that I won 7 weeks straight. I won 100 free hours of AOL, so that went really far with my career. It helped me on my long climb to the middle. It was 100 free hours of AOL and a check for $25.72. I still saved one of them. I don't know why they had such a random number, but that comedy club no longer exists.
That's actually funny. But no, man, that's like we were talking to you. Like Rum Production puts on a comedy show or a contest every year. We were joking with you outside because you said something about a plate of brownies. We actually give away a tray of brownies.
You're going to give me a tray of brownies. Depending on the brownies, it could be worth it.
And $5.
And $5.
And $5.
Gas money.
There you go.
That's munchies.
We take care of the guys that come out for us. But where are you going to be at next?
I'm going shopping later, and then I'm going to go to GameStop and probably go home after that. I really, actually, a lot of my stuff right now is private party stuff. I'm doing a couple private parties. I also am a flair bartender, so I do magic, bartending, fire eating combined, and juggling and
drinking and fire.
Drinking
Nothing like
fire.
that.
It's a great mix, alcohol and fire, as you can see from any YouTube video that involves alcohol and fire.
It's almost as good as meth, man.
Yeah, and then I'll be at whatever comedy contest you were talking about. I don't know the date exactly yet. We're working that out today.
We'll figure that out later.
Yeah, vote for me. I could be funny. And I'll give you the $5 and some brownies.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for coming and talking to me, man.
Thanks for having me out.
This is Brendan Yancey. Make sure you guys see him when you can. Thanks for coming, dude.
All right, see you later.
Cool, man.
That was Brendan Yancey. We're going to show you a clip of his set at Tickets. Here's his clip.
We're going to do one more thing to close here. It is my favorite thing to do because I need a couple for it. I need some lovers. A couple with a really big, strong guy, if possible. Is there a couple here with a really strong guy? Or is there a really strong guy and a single lady that want to meet each other? I don't give a shit if you act like you're a couple. Just get up and okay, who do we got? Any couples? Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll take up Lacey again. I don't want you to have to go through that. You just lit up a cigarette. I'm so jealous right now. Damn it. Wow, you are a big guy. And your shirt says Yankees. I'm a Yankees fan. Thanks. All right. You want to help me out? You're the biggest guy in the room, I think. Let's see if you would work. Holy shit, I'm in trouble. And then I need a lady to help me out as well. Lady. You want to help me out? Sure, why the hell not? Thank you for volunteering. Hi, what's your name? Bill. What's your name? Lavonda, come to this side. Bill, you stay on that side. Perfect. We're going to do a neat little trick here. You guys, by the way, Bill, meet Lavonda, meet Bill. Right now, you guys are kind of like, you're not a couple, eh? That's not what I was setting up for, but here's what we're going to do. Lavonda, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Very simple.
Yeah.
How you feel about bondage? You like it? All right. Calm. Here's what we're going to do. You grab this side, grab that sleeve, yank on it. You grab that sleeve, yank on it, pull on this, make sure this is soft. Ooh, careful down here. It's a different magic trick. Look, if you rub it, it gets bigger. Something completely different, I'm sorry. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and show you the body of a 10-year-old boy right here. Thank you very much. All right. You guys are going to turn this thing around. You let go of your sleeve, you let go of your sleeve. We're going to take this, we're going to put this on me. It goes on like a normal jacket, only backwards. This is where you guys come in. Help me pull this up over my shoulders. Fasten me in here. Oh, perfect. You have done this before. Nice. Okay. There's belt buckles on the back. They're like a belt buckle. I don't know how else to describe it. Start from the top. There's 4 of them. It feels a little awkward. You guys straighten there? And make sure we're straight. We're lining up the buckles, right?
Be still!
All right. So, how long were you in for? You got it? You got it all? Oh, I wasn't lined up. The magician might be fucking right. Okay. I'm doing it. Start over. So, yeah. So this trick was actually brought in magic by the famous Harry Houdini / Eric Weiss from Hungary, actually Appleton, Wisconsin. Figure it out, do the math, whatever, research. Harry Houdini found that when he went to a mental asylum, he saw this little guy rolling on the ground in one of these and could not get out of it, peeing all over himself, and Houdini realized that's American entertainment. And that's why we're still performing it today. The only problem is the straitjacket is now considered cruel and unusual punishment, and they don't use them in a lot of places. Hey, Bill, you want to see the cruel and unusual part? Guess where that one's got to go? Sick person that came up with that, probably a woman. So, no offense, you're not going to help me with this one. Look, being out's been doing good for you, huh? All right, good. Here we go. Lavonda! I'm going to swing this back to you with my best Ricky Martin impression. You just go ahead and grab it. I look like a jackass. It's best not to stare directly at it. Okay. Oh, okay, careful. Calm down there. All right. Just tighten that thing up a little bit. The tighter you make it, the more they're going to laugh. Watch out for my Houdini. Okay, come on now. There's a buckle there. It doesn't need to attach to my neck. All right. Thanks. Wow. As I mentioned, I'm single. Thank God nobody needs to use this thing anytime soon. All right. Whew, that's a new notch, isn't it? I am never hold still. Again. Sorry to fuck your guys' show up. All right. That is unpleasant. I'm never asking a girl to wear a thong again. All right, here we go. Now then, the next part. You get to take the arms and fasten them behind the back, okay? Make it as tight as you can. Put your knee in my back if you have to. As tight as you can. Okay. I hope that's his knee. All right. Keep it. You're enjoying this. All right, really tight as you can make it. Hurt the performer. We want this to look good. We don't want anyone to think that you loosen this up for me. Make it tight. I don't know what you're doing back there. Make it tight. Crank down on it. I think he just lifted my wallet. I have no idea what just happened. Real tight. Pull. Tighter. You can go tight. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I can't breathe. That's perfect. Good. Okay, yeah, just slide through that other part. Wow. Thank you. I'm available after the show. All right, high five. No, everybody, I can't give them a big round of applause for helping me out, but they've done an amazing job. Please give them a big round of applause for helping me out. Why do I do this to myself? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the straitjacket escape. Step 1, the arms must go over that. Oh, when the arms go up, the bottom strap goes up. Hey, Lavonda. Can you still see that strap? That's one thing that's not going to disappear during this magic show. All right, here we go. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Wouldn't it be awesome if I took your whole table out right now? You couldn't be calling me Dan. All right. Oh, this reminds me of the day I was born. Worst wedge in the world. Save it. That's all you got, save it. All right, here we go. All right, the drunken giraffe. Here we go. Pull it down. Now. Shut up and follow my keys. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a straight up mistake. I'm Brendan Yancey. Enjoy the rest of your show. Thank you very much.
Next guy we're bringing up to talk to today is a very, very funny dude from Kentucky. This is Mr. John Bernard. How you been, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
You did great, man. So, what's been going on with you lately? It's been a couple weeks since I've seen you.
Yeah, just did the Funny Bone.
How'd that work out for you?
I actually felt like I had a pretty good set. It was a lot of fun. I was scared. It was the first time. There's a lot of nervous energy and excitement, but
Yeah, first time you do a big venue like that, it is kind of nerve-wracking, man.
it's definitely nerve-wracking.
The very first time I did stand-up was at Go Bananas. And I tell you what, man, I was scared to death. Couldn't tell it, but I was scared to death.
And now I'm doing another show on the Funny Bone. I think the 21st or something like that. I just found out that the WOW show. I just found out from Jay that was that's an Apollo type of show. So I'm sure my act will fly real well with that.
Well, at least your Sling Blade stuff will.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully.
you know, that always works out good for you. So, I mean, are you just...
How you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah, I mean, because you look great. You look good.
No,
You're starting to
thank
get
you.
the face, the
Oh,
swelling's
yeah.
going down.
It's went
So-
down. Stayed away from bats and
Right.
bottles and stuff.
It's a good thing
you know.
syphilis is highly treatable.
To be serious.
This is my first time in an actual studio.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know what, man? When it came in here, I was like, I know for a fact
It's
this
like
will be the...
summertime in here, really.
Yeah, I knew you coming in, you would be in awe.
Right.
You
I
know,
like it.
like the last time you seen lights like this were when you were planting your pot.
Right,
like I
right.
know.
Right.
And it's pretty bright.
I had a studio apartment once. It wasn't nothing like this.
Oh, yeah.
About the same size. but
About the
not-
same size, huh? Less pipes.
Less piping.
I meant in the walls. Like, you know, not
Right,
hiding
right.
under the
Right,
rug
right.
or anything. Okay. I hate that look, dude. He's like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting this. This is fun. All right. So, how long you actually been doing stand-up?
Going on 5 months now.
5 whole months.
5 whole months.
You seem a lot more seasoned than that.
Well, I sold cars for 15 years, so I'm
So you're good on the BS part.
right. Just talking and people can go buy a car anywhere,
Yeah.
So I always try to entertain them a little bit.
Right.
They would come in and ask for the animated character. The guy, he kind of looks like a cartoon, So I kept them entertained and treated them good. I wasn't your typical used car guy. I sold new Toyotas, so getting and my dad was, we all grew up with that crazy father that kind
Yeah.
of instilled the humor in us, the dark sense of humor. So
Yeah.
I really feel like I've been at it for a lot longer. I've been writing for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Just little things, but I didn't really put it into plan until just
Well, see, you seem so comfortable. Like, you know what I mean? I know because I started out like all the rest of the comics. I can tell when somebody's nervous when a crowd can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when you don't get that laugh you're expecting, when you throw out that big joke and it doesn't exactly go over the way you
Kills
thought.
you. Right.
But then you always have that, every comic has that survival instinct thing where they run into something else.
Right.
And you've been great at that from what I've seen. You know, I've seen you a couple times where I could tell you wasn't happy with the response.
Right.
You know, but nobody else could because the very next joke, you got them right back.
And I think with comedians, I think inherently we're dissatisfied anytime we get up on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, just like I thought I had a great show, and then I'll go back and watch the tape, and I'll be like, man, I missed that.
Well, we all do that.
Just and it just and it eats you alive.
Yes, and it could be the smallest thing. Like, you know, man, I meant to move to the right or the left.
Right.
And I didn't look up when I needed to. I mean, it's the most minute thing that makes you feel like your whole set sucks. And I think that's the thing with a comic. A comic is always going for that perfect set. It's like, you know, with songwriters, they're always, you know, wanting to write the perfect song. Actors are wanting to portray the most, you know, elaborate role, you know, and it's never going to happen, but everybody chases it.
Right, but I think that's how you get better, is you constantly kind of beat on yourself a little bit.
Yeah, well,
and I do that a little bit in the morning and a little bit at night, you know.
Hey, man, whatever gets you pumped for the show.
But in terms of a lot of people, you know, you say I seem a little seasoned, a little better than some people in my same
Not
situation.
saying you're old,
right?
But
well, I do. You know, I am almost 40, so
which
you know,
is very surprising. You look like you're about my age. I never would have believed.
So
I
got a few more life experiences on some of the younger comedians, but I think some of the younger comedians are great. I think what's helped me out a lot is people like Rob Wilfong and Jay Armstrong. They let you get out there. You know, Jay runs that ticket show, and he'll put you on just about any time you want. Just show up, and well, most of the time you can show up, but you know, he's good to you. Rob will put you on any show that you need, and it just seems like everybody's, you know, we're all out for our own little thing, but it seems like everybody's out to help each other a little bit too. You know what I mean? We're not out to sabotage each other.
Well, most of us aren't. That's the great thing about this area, because, like I said, it's not like a big area like, you know, the New York scene and out in LA and stuff like that. It's, you know, everybody here, obviously you're doing it because you want something out of it.
Right.
I mean, even if it's just, like, I love to just get on stage.
It's the best feeling. Well, I mean, you know, there's some other, you know, having your first child and stuff, but in terms of a self-satisfactory feeling, like a selfish feeling, when you get off stage and people are, I mean, you know, it feels freaking good.
Nothing's better than someone you have never met in your life walking up and saying, man, that was great.
Right.
There's no better feeling than that.
Right. It's a therapy.
I mean, and I know this sounds messed up, but I mean, if you look at the history of stand-up comics, we're all some kind of junkie, like adrenaline junkie. You know, we all want something great. I mean, this feeling, the last. That's why, nah, man, I always enjoy your set. Like the few times I've seen you, it's always seemed really well written. Your performance, part of it, is always really good. How much? Me and Jay were talking about like life experience going into your comedy. How much of that is actually you, and how much is actually just made up?
Well, I think there's a lot of it that is actually true. You know, I am a little, and I read this in Reader's Digest. It's okay to be mildly bipolar. You know, they say you're more creative, but I'm subject to mood swings up and down. I'm goofy mentally. You know what I mean? I'll send somebody a friend's request on Facebook, and you know, and then you know, I never hear back from them. I'm like, you know, you turkey and all this stuff, and then they're like, hey, man, and then like an hour later, hey, man, I only check my Facebook once a day. You know, I'm quirky, man, no doubt about it. I'm goofy, but I got a good support system. You know, I got my wife and my kids are behind me. So, what else is true in that? I talk about kind of going on a spiritual journey. You know, I'm not into the material thing. It's about some inner peace now, and I talk about a small anatomy part, and that's pretty true. That is actually true.
You know what? That's the thing, man. It's like you seem very seamless with all the stuff you say. It all runs together.
Right.
Your set is really good. I really do like it, and you can tell that a lot of it's drawn off your own stuff. That's like me. you know, a lot of times people are like, man, you're a dick on stage. I'm like, well, the same way off stage.
Right.
You know, a lot of it is
I'm
me.
a nervous wreck. I mean, whether, you know, I'm pretty much, you know, I went into the doctor and, you know, I was just talking to him. I was like, I was trying to, you know, I was talking to the head doctor, the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And he's like, you seem a little manicky. Well, this is the way I am. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I don't need a pill, you know, to tell me, you know, this is who I am. If you don't like me, then tough. You know what I mean? So,
Well, that's like you said, you know there's some things wrong with you. If you don't know there's something wrong with you, then there's something wrong
right,
with you.
right.
That's the way
And
I've
it took
always
me
looked at
36 years to realize that I used to think everybody was like, I thought everybody was messed up in the head. Well, it took me 36 years, and I realized that, you know, hey, they're not the butts. You know,
Yeah.
that's me. You know, I'm the butthole.
Yeah.
And once you realize that, then you can start becoming a better person.
Yeah.
And so I've learned a lot of humility and learned how to apologize. You know, and just
That's the biggest part, man. Like I brought up, you know, I've struggled with drug abuse and everything else, and learning to say sorry
right,
and actually mean it. That's a big step, man. That's really hard to do.
Right.
And especially to the people that care about you regardless. You know, people that don't matter, you know, it's real easy to say, hey, sorry, you know, but
Absolutely.
people that you really care about that have been stuck with you this whole time,
Right.
that's what's hard to do. And I mean, that's like you and Jay should be applauded for knowing what your problems are and taking care of them.
Right.
You know, I think that's great.
yeah.
And
we all have our problems. I mean,
and to be a comic, you have to be slightly screwed
no
up.
nail
anyway.
holes here. You know? I'm not perfect. So.
Oh man, yeah, that's dude. I'll tell you what, that's you guys. All these guys in this area, not all of them, but a lot of the guys I associate with are really good comics. And for you to have only been doing this for 5 months, man, it blows me away. Because you were one of the funnier guys I know, like genuinely, you know, not putting on an act.
Right.
Like you were genuinely funny. Like you got me laughing over here with some of the stuff.
Even
you've done.
in like junior high and high school, elementary, like the teachers, certain ones would give me, you know, 4 or 5 minutes before class, just so I wouldn't disrupt throughout class.
Yeah,
And so I would get
just
up
get
and
it out.
impersonate people, and then so I've kind of been doing it, but it was just, you know, it took a couple of things. Like I went to see my barber, and he's like, John, what are you going to do? And he's a good friend of mine, Brett Keene, and I was like, I really want to do this stand-up. And he goes, well, you're not no spring chicken anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I
Gotta
said,
get
you know,
at it.
you're right. And like 3 days later, he passed away of a heart attack. And so I thought that was kind of maybe like a message, hey, you need to go do this. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what spurred me on into it. And Steve Booth, another comedian.
Very funny guy.
Yeah, helped me kind of get the door open. And then guys like Rob, you know, he's booked me on a bunch of, you know, everybody's been real good to me. You know, despite my personality disorder.
Well, see, I'm screwed up too, so I never
Right.
noticed it. You
Right,
know,
right.
It was until you said something. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah,
Everybody's
that's
real
it.
good. I think everybody's wants to see everybody. I mean, we're all out for ourselves, you know.
Ultimately, it's
but you know, I think it's still a pretty good.
no, it's like the Highlander. You
Right.
know, they all get. You
Right.
know, you can be friends till you're the last two left.
Right,
And then
right.
I got to cut your head off.
That's right.
So.
But it's been a lot of fun, and this is what I want to do. I kind of took the interview over. I saw where were we at?
No, we're here.
All right.
Just go for it. No, you're good, man. But
Had to
that's
pick up my wife here at 1 o'clock. She got her a job at the daycare, so she was working at the nursing home. She was with the nursing home for 20 years. 20 years, you know, employee of the month. Got her own parking spot. You know, you throw one old woman down the steps, and they fire you.
ain't that amazing?
That does better in the nursing home than it just did in here.
Well, you only have 4 people here, so
We've all heard.
we've all heard it. I'm sure somebody out there is laughing, or calling police, or you know, something
Right.
of that nature. So, where are you going to be at?
Oh gosh, I didn't bring my planner with me, but I'm going to be doing tickets. The what is that? 16th and 17th. I'm going to be doing Judy Brown's Wow Show on the 21st. I think is what
That is
that
of March.
I'm doing a show on the 31st at the Cabaret.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they said it was a drag show, and you know, I'm from Kentucky. I thought
get
it was
you a
going to be
helmet?
like, yeah, I thought it was like a
Helmet and
NASCAR
jacket?
type
Yeah.
of thing, but it's not that kind of drag show. So we'll figure out how to do that when I get in it.
We'll get you a skirt.
But doing the Goldman's bar mitzvah this Thursday, you know, Mazel Tov. We'll see you there.
Oh my goodness. That was good. All right. John, it's always fun,
Thanks, brother.
dude. Always fun.
What's happening, Cincinnati?
Very, very funny dude, John Bernard.
Thanks.
Make sure you check it out.
If you'd like to know any more information about any of the talent or any of the venues we have on our show, visit our website at www.ren-productions.com.